also seen reports of US F-35 being hit and forced to land after an Iranian strike. What does this tells us about the perception of stealth invulnerability, and how significant is Iran's use of cheap drones and missile saturation in offsetting high-end platforms like F-35? I mean, these are
Okay.
just reports.
Okay, let's start with stealth. Stealth is not making any kind of aircraft completely invisible, undetectable, or anything else. And anybody studying the developments of the Iranian air defenses of the last 10, 15, perhaps 20 years, if you like, must have noticed that they are developing multi-spectral systems. That means for the same system, same air defense system, they would develop 2, 3, even 5 or 6 radars, each of which has a different function. So one radar could detect stealth, the others not, or 2 of the radars could detect stealth and the other 3 not. Therefore, this had to happen sooner or later. Actually, as far as I'm informed, this has happened already several times, which means several stealth aircraft have been damaged over the last 2 weeks, but this was the first case where this was also recorded by this thermal camera and also published by Iran as evidence. Moreover, the IGC is also clever enough to say we didn't shut it down because they know that they didn't. So why lying? So in this way, they're increasing their own credibility while decreasing that of the Americans. The Americans say, no, the aircraft was damaged without explaining why was it, how was it damaged, but the pilot is stable, which in other words means pilot was wounded by this detonation next to his aircraft. So he was lucky to get back to his base alive and land his aircraft in one or another condition. That is that point. Overall, the Iranian air defenses are far more capable than Trump is ever going to admit, than Hexet is ever going to admit, and especially Israelis are ever going to admit. We might read in 20 years in memoirs of this on another Israeli pilot what kind of super air defenses Iranians used to have, but that is not going to be said now, only 20 years from now. As for UAVs, they are less effective against Israel simply because there are so many defense layers in front of Israel. Almost all of Jordanian armed forces are arrayed so that they are shooting down incoming Iranian UAVs. This, which is why partially Iran is routing its UAVs over Syria. So the Israelis are focusing now on shooting down UAVs over Syria, while Jordanians are doing so over Jordan, and then Israelis are doing so over Israel. So very few, next to none, are getting through in this regards. But on the other hand, they have taken the Americans, in particular U.S. Army, and its THAAD and Patriot operators completely by surprise. They are not used to moving their radar systems in their same sites. They're not used to even think about this. So you now read about Ukrainian advisors who were sent to advise them and to support them in combat against Shahed UAVs, which say they didn't move their system for 2 months. And of course, after 2 months, that system is all the time. There must be dozens of satellite photographs showing the system in the same position. That is making things very easy for Iranians. And then what they do, they're meanwhile launching waves of 5 or 6 UAVs, route them around to outflank the U.S. air defenses and hit them from the flank or from the rear. And what a surprise, the Americans are losing one THAAD system and one Patriot system after the other. So much so they had already in the first week to hold additional such system from South Korea to weaken their defenses against against North Korea, in order to bolster their defenses in the Middle East. We have seen Greeks sending emergency packages of Patriot missiles to the United Arab Emirates, because what is also happening, the Americans and Emirates and Bahrainis, Kuwaitis, Qataris, they are shooting Patriot missiles like there's no tomorrow. They are frequently firing 6, 7 missiles at the same UAV. So there's a fantastic attrition in this regards. And this is not only costly in financial terms, but it is also costly in terms of, it takes years to replenish the stocks of such missiles. So this means this is causing a permanent weakening in overall U.S. capability to wage wars in the future.